Hello again. I am Janer. I am with you with another live broadcasting, guys. Today is gonna be my second live broadcast. I'm super happy and excited at the same time. Today I'm gonna have my dear friend TCP, the third culture pilot, with me. He's a very mysterious guy, I know, and I have lots of questions about him because he's a very famous guy. He has like almost 1 million followers on TikTok, and I'm just checking right now, it's like 804,000. It's an amazing number, and he shares his landings on TikTok, and he has a great landings. That's why he's like CEO of Butter Landings. That's how he calls himself. I have lots of questions, and the other thing is I wanted to surprise him today in this broadcast. We are gonna make some weird video reactions, and everything will be happening in maybe within an hour, and we will be talking a lot. But first of all, I would like to introduce myself for those who has never watched me before. My name is Caner. Is written Caner. I know everyone calls me Kaner, but this how it is pronounced in Turkish in my language. I'm Turk. I'm from Turkey, but I live right now in the U.S., based in Houston, Texas, and I used to work for Emerson. Prior to that, I used to work for Turkish Airlines. So I flew 737 in Turkish Airlines and 777 in Emirates. And now I'm in the US. I'm flying 737 again. So TCP also flies 737. So it's a good day today. We are gonna be talking about 737 flying. Yeah. And as you can see, guys, I am in the hotel room. Actually, today I just work. I came from flight. I had a very early departure from Houston to Tampa, and I'm gonna have a layover. Right now, I am in Tampa, Florida, and today I'm gonna stay here. And then after that, I'll be flying tomorrow to first New York, and from New York to Austin. Yeah, guys, that's basically about it. So I can see TCP is already here. I will invite him, but before, I would like to say something. Please like this live so that YouTube algorithm just push this video up and it can reach many people. And don't forget to subscribe my channel if you haven't done yet. Please go ahead and subscribe my channel, and this help us a lot to advertise the live so that most of the people can reach it. Now I'm checking, we are here like 34 people. Not bad. Definitely more than the previous one. It's gonna be more and more. Okay. I can see TCP is here. If we are all ready, I can invite him. All right, TCP is now your turn. You can join us.
There we are. Hey,
Yeah, there we
man.
are.
It's
Welcome, man.
Thank you very much. Good to see you, and thank you very, very much for having me. It's a great, great honor.
Thank you so much, man. Likewise, I'm super happy to host you in this live broadcast because maybe our guests they don't know, but we made such a long, long, long plans to make it today's happen. I invited you. You were busy. When you were available, I was busy. So I'm super happy today we made it, man. Finally.
I'm so excited about it as well. Like, I mean, as you know, obviously the flight schedules are sometimes a real pain to work around. I mean, I think we both are flying like short mid-haul flights right now, so especially then the roster can be tough at times. But yeah, anyways, I'm so grateful to be here now, and I'm excited for the stream, man.
That's great, man. That's great. Apparently, COVID didn't finish wherever you are, huh? You're still wearing the mask.
Exactly. I think this is the most common thing. When I started my social media, I was the whole point was not to promote myself but to promote flying, and I was thinking of remaining anonymous completely, just to make the videos and to secure my own privacy. And the thing was, initially when I started TikTok in 2019, just before COVID hit, I was just using like emojis or something to hide my face with a sticker or something. And then I started posting videos or pictures with my face, but hidden with a mask. I had the mask at that time. And then people were like, yeah, but when are you going to reveal the face? We want to see you. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it when I have 50K on TikTok. And then suddenly I had 50K on TikTok. It went so quickly. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it at 100K because I'm not going to get 100K. And then suddenly I had 100K. And I was like, crap, this is going too fast. And I think by that time, people were already so used to it that I just stuck with it. And I'm quite happy about it.
Nice, man. It's great. It's really great success. I mean, I check your TikTok and you have really, really, really great videos and you have really great attitude
Thank
and
you very
nice.
much.
I liked it so much, man. And you have really great landings. We will start for that. But prior that, I know, guys, I know his name. He's my friend and I know where he works. But of course, I'm not gonna tell. I would like to keep it mystery as well because that's how I love it. And also he prefers that way. But would you like to talk a little bit about yourself? And I don't know within some certain limits, how old are you? With which
Sure.
world you are working? And people who follows you most probably they will understand you are in the Europe
Yeah.
region because you always share European airports. But what would you like to talk a little bit about yourself?
So I'm going to give you a brief introduction. I mean, it's going to be the basic one about me. So the name Third Culture Pilot is based on the term Third Culture Kid. I'm not sure if you've heard that before. Basically, what it means is you're a person that was born from two cultures into a new third culture. So my dad is from Sri Lanka, and my mother is from Austria, and they're both also in aviation. That's how they met years ago. And I was, however, born and raised in Germany. So that's like the third culture in my life. So yeah, that's the background from them. By now, I'm 28 years old. I just turned 28 in February this year. So going strong towards the 30. And yeah, I'm working in my second airline job. I started flying when I was 24. I finished my training when I was 24, I think. And yeah, so obviously COVID was a bit of a difficult time, but I was lucky enough to have my first job before. And I just recently switched the airline this year. And yeah, still flying the 737, still flying in Europe, but quite different kind of operation now.
Yeah, I can see that definitely. So how many total hours you have and what kind of air did in your previous airline did you fly 737 as well?
Exactly. So in the previous airline, which is like basically one of the major carriers in Europe, which I think you would know. So they're basically only operating 737s. I think they have one of the largest 737 fleets in the world, roughly 450 plus 737s they had, out of which all of them are the 800 series or the Max series. Only one single 737-700 they've had, which was usually used for VIP flights or base training flights. So I've never actually touched it. Now my new airline, I fly the 700s, the 800s, from July onwards as well the Max, and then I think that's the ones we have.
I mean, you made it very obvious when you say it's like 400 airplanes they have. I mean, I don't
People,
want
I
to
think people
name
can
the
take a
name the
guess.
company, but it's very obvious. You make it very narrow it down, when you
Yeah,
say 400 plus.
of
Yeah,
course.
you're right, man. So yeah. So I introduced myself already. So I'm also flying 737. I used
Which
to
is
fly
fantastic,
73,
obviously.
then triple, then I'm back in 73. And I was extremely lucky because in Turkish Airlines, actually, how I learned flying with 737. And we were lucky because we had each kind of different types of 737. I flew with 737, 700, 800, 900, 900 ER, Max 8, and Max 9.
Oh,
Here
wow.
right now at United, even we have more varieties than the Turkish Airlines. So it's
Crazy.
really great. One day I'm flying with 700. It's like a rocket. You literally, this airplane is so powerful, small,
Exactly.
short, but a powerful engine.
Sport
And the
car.
next day I'm flying with Max 9, and recently flew from Houston to Alaska with Max 9. It's like a long haul flight, 6 hours. I was like, wow. But in Turkish Airlines, we were so used to fly along with that as well, though I didn't fly that much, but because we were used to make Istanbul to Africa operation to Tanzania, even further down, we could fly with that 737. So
Yeah, it's quite
I'm
incredible. Yeah.
familiar with flying 45 minutes to 6 hours, 7 hours with 737, which is not that common to fly 6 hours with 737.
Yeah. So I think for me it was the same. It's the same scenario. So when I was starting with my initial airline, they mostly operated throughout Europe with short haul flights. We were flying mostly, 4 sector days. We had 1.5 hours to 2 hours, 2 hours 30 minutes flight times usually, quick turnarounds, and so you would be able to fit 4 flights. Now my new airline, basically we operate the same like Turkish Airlines. We have some short days, but usually we fly to the holiday destinations. So we will fly to the Canaries, we will fly to Northern Africa, we'll fly even to West Africa towards Dakar in
That's
Senegal,
cool.
which is far. We've flown to Dubai as well, and yeah, that's, I think, as you know, I mean, for the 737, I think a 6 hour flight really, even comfort wise, is the max you should do. If you go above that with the new series, the 737 Max, it might be a bit uncomfortable, but yeah, airlines are getting there.
No, I totally agree. Right now, the trend for airlines to have narrow body which has long range, so they would like to fly narrow bodies to longer destination, mid market, and then they can have they can minimize the cost because the operation of a wide body from point A to point B, regardless of how short or long distance, is huge. But
Yeah,
if you have a 737 or 321 XLR will be coming there, it's going to be game changer because
it's
what
incredible.
I
Yeah,
think, yeah, because the unit cost will go significantly down, and meanwhile you can have 200 guys. I
yeah.
remember during COVID time we operated from Dubai to US, 9 people, passengers, and we were like 16 crew. And it's like how much money they can lose,
That is
but when
incredible.
you have slots and everything, you have to do this kind of things. Yeah, man, this really great. So uh, guys, by the way, we didn't do any plan beforehand. We don't know what we are gonna talk about. We just had some rough basic points what we can talk this and that, but we didn't have any questions. So he doesn't know what questions am I gonna ask him, or I don't even know what he's gonna ask to me as well. And also, I downloaded some of his nice videos from TikTok, and he doesn't know which videos we are gonna put in on the screen. So we are
I
gonna talk
hope
a
I
little
hope
bit
it's the
about
good
it.
ones.
Say again?
I hope it's the good ones.
I mean, to be honest, I just said my editor about that. Okay, just try to find nice videos. So not only we will talk about the videos, but we
Yeah,
can maybe give some background information about this and everything, so people
absolutely.
can learn basics how it works.
Yeah,
That's the ultimate aim of my YouTube channel. I'm not trying to, I would like to earn money from them, but I would like to educate the people about the aviation. Or some people, they just follow this channel for hobby. They can see how is a real life of an aviator. So that's why I'm trying to invite people around the world and successful ones, so that they can get to know much details about the aviation,
yeah.
and especially being pilot. So personally, do you prefer like multi sectors a day, or you prefer one sector long day, then have a layover and come back? What's your choice on
To be
737?
honest, I mean, now that I've switched to airlines and I've now started flying longer flights on the 737 as a pilot, I have to say I do appreciate the work where you only have 2 sectors per day. So that's, I mean, it's easy work. You just fly to A to B, and from B to A, you're done with the day, and it might be a short day. However, what I really liked about my old airline, where we did 4 sectors a day, is you get a lot of experience. You keep flying. There's a lot of manual flying involved. You learn the operations to be as efficient as possible. So I think it's a bit of a more of a challenge, and it's keeping you more on the go, you know? So whereas on the longer flights, you get a bit lazy and it might get a bit boring as well. If you sit in the flight deck for 6 hours and you only do one landing and then basically you're done for the day, I sometimes prefer to have a shorter day or like a day with 4 sectors where I do more flying simply because it's more fun. I think that the flying part on the 737 is really, really enjoyable. So I have to say I would prefer shorter flights. I think that's my answer.
I see. So for me, I would prefer other way around, because in Turkish Airlines, I used to make 50 legs a month, minimum. And then I was so fed up with this kind of flying. It's like, maybe those guys don't know, but in general, pilots are getting paid with your flight hours, not duty hours. So basically, you can have 12 hours long duty, but in this 12 hours long duty, you can maybe have 3 hours flight time. That's 4 hours. That's pretty much my life when I was in Turkish Airlines. I was flying 45 minutes
really
from Istanbul to capital Ankara, then have 2 hours, then Ankara to Izmir, another 2 hours on the ground, then go there. So basically, you spend 8-9 hours, but you get paid for 2-3 hours. And that was I was so fed up. That's why I went to 777. And I then that time that I start flying 16 hours and 15 hours. I was like, wow, this is also too long from Dubai to Dallas, Houston, or LAX, San Francisco, or other way around. Australia, it was too long. So right now, I think I would prefer maximum 2 legs a day. I would prefer to fly longer flight hours in a day, and then I can maximize my working day, so I can have maximum days off. And by the way, I just see I think Serhat's question, is it difficult to change the type? Yeah, I struggle with the type changing. No, because the thing is, like, Boeings are Boeings, you have more or less the same MCP, same screens and everything. And I already flew with 737 before 777. So my career was 73, then 777, then back to 73. So when I come back to 73, I just pick it up easily, because I already flew with this airplane 2,600 hours before I go to triple. So it's more like, for me, struggle is more to adaptation to the US system, because US, they have their own rule. FAA world is different than the EASA world or IKEA world. So the communication wise and everything, I'm getting better and better each day. I'm feeling more confident, but the type changing, no, I don't struggle, because I already flew with that. But attitude is okay. 777, to be honest, the best airplane that I have ever flown, because it's extremely easy, man. Extremely easy. So your channel will be meaningless. Your channel will be meaningless if you were 777 pilots, because most of the landings are butter landings there as well, because it's very easy. But 737 is really difficult to fly. What do you think about it?
I think so. I mean, to be honest, the 737, what I tell people when they want to become a pilot and when they want to start their careers, they have to realize flying is not what they kind of imagine it to be, in the movies or whatever. So flying is a lot of automation, right? So you're mostly busy operating the systems and you're managing the aircraft to get from A to B. So the whole manual flying stuff, the part where what you dream about as a child, is, I think, is a small fraction of the entire job of a pilot. So especially knowing that, when you start a career and you go, for example, on an Airbus, people love the Airbus A320. It's a beautiful aircraft. It looks fancy. It's very comfortable. What the problem is, the automation in there is even higher. I mean, obviously, Airbus is a more modern aircraft than the Boeing 737, for example. And you're not flying fully manual, let's say. So even if you are a manual flight, the autopilot is off, even then the Airbus is in control of a lot of things. So looking at that, I would say the 737 is a fantastic aircraft for starters. When you start your career, it's a real aircraft. You really control everything yourself manually. And I think you can become a great pilot from learning flying 737. I think if you fly the 737, a 777 is going to be easy. A 320 is going to be, everything's going to be so much easier when you can handle such an aircraft.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you. And from my own personal experience, I can easily say that 737 is way more difficult airplane than the 777, because everything, as you said, is manual. And that's what I say, and everyone agrees on that, and everyone also says the same. 737 is a big Cessna or Piper. So basically, you can fly the airplane with pitch and power. Literally, it's like a big Cessna. This is how, when Cessna and Piper are those small airplanes where you start flying with your career, right? Most of the time.
Exactly.
To Cherokee or whatever. And then you learn flying pitch and power. Actually, when you set the correct pitch and the power thrust setting, actually airplane depending on the what phase of the flight you are in, you can descend, you can configure the airplane and climb. 737 exactly the same thing. So
Yeah.
it's a great airplane, but to be honest, when I see the 777, it's a great airplane, but when it comes to comfort and everything, noise and everything, it's not that great compared to 777. But I totally agree, and that's why I chose 737, because 737 I could choose in the United. I Because here is totally different system. You can bid with the airplane that you want to fly, and
So
if your
what was the
seniority
options?
can say again.
If I can ask you, so which options did they offer you? Like which types?
When you join the company, it's a little bit different, because when you join, they're like, okay, in this round we have 3737, 575, 2777, and 278. I'm just throwing the numbers
Yeah.
randomly. Each week it depends and it changes. And then from the list, the oldest guy in the class choose the first airplane and the base that he wants to be or she wants to be in. So in my base, in my time, I had 737, 75, and 777. I didn't have 787. So my seniority was still, I'm 33 years old. When I joined there, I was still relatively young compared to the class. And the oldest guy chose the first airplane and the base. And they have bases for each airplane type. So when it comes to me, I could go either 737, 75, or triple. I used to fly triple. Triple is an amazing airplane, but it's very senior airplane here. So if you choose triple, you stay junior for a long time. It
Yeah.
means that you will be on reserve. You cannot get the days off that you want. You cannot control. But now I chose 737 in Houston, and I'm 56, 57% already in the base in 737.
Which is
So it's a
amazing. Yeah.
great. In 4 months, I have 800 guys junior to me, and I at the same time 57% in the base. Just for a quick comparison, I had captains that I flew with, they spent 10 years in the company and they didn't reach 50% in 10 years. And in 4 months, I reached 50%. It's amazing to be a pilot right now in the US, because they are
Yeah.
hiring 2,000 pilots each year. So in a year, you are senior to 2,000 guys, and seniority means everything in the US.
Yeah.
For instance, in Emirates, we had like 5,000, like somewhere close to 5,000 pilots. And during COVID time, half of the company is gone. And I was literally senior to maybe 50, 60 guys for a long time,
Nothing.
because they
Nothing.
didn't
Yeah.
hire anyone.
Yeah.
And whole pilots are 4,000. I will be senior to 4,000 pilots in 2 years. The number of pilots in Emirates, I will be senior in my company. So it's
Yeah.
very interesting system here.
I think it's incredible if I compare it to my career now. In my previous airline, basically you will it was possible to become a captain within 4 years. So usually you join the airline, and the airline clearly tells you, we are hiring a future captain. We're hiring you today because we think in 4 years you will become a captain. You have the potential. So basically from day one, they will assess you, they will keep you in tests, and keep updating your knowledge. You have to do more and more exams every year, and to progress towards captaincy. So actually, if COVID would have not happened, I would have been a captain this year at 28, which would be incredible. However, coming back to your original question with the hours on type now, well, just because COVID happened, basically, I'm only at 1,300, 1,400 hours on the 737, which is not so much actually. For 4 years, it's nothing. So that was just because of COVID. So obviously, becoming a captain would have taken me another 3-4 years in that airline again now, because I would need to reach the hours, of course. But now in my new airline, seniority again is a thing, and it's also fleet based. So we have two different fleets, and you would start off on the smaller aircraft, and you would upgrade as first officer to the bigger aircraft, and then you would come back as a captain to the smaller aircraft again, and then from a small. So that's how it would work there. Also based on your seniority, how many years are you in the company? And I think now in my new airline, you would need to stay somewhere around 10 years on plus to become a captain, actually.
I see. But can you stay as a wide body first officer position until you can hold a captain bid in wide body? Or you have
I'm
to go
not
down?
sure. I'm not sure how they would do this. I think actually you would have to switch over. I think you would actually still have to do the small aircraft first. So that's just how they have a collective agreement basically, and I think years ago they agreed on that you have to jump the line like this, from small to big to small to big. So I think that's just how it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty much much the case in Turkish Airlines as well. You can
Yeah.
either stay as a first officer in narrow body, then become a captain in narrow body, or narrow body first officer, wide body first officer, narrow body captain, and first wide
Right.
body captain.
Right.
Yeah, it's same more or less,
It's an
because we
old.
have
I
a
think
couple of systems all around the world.
yeah, I think it's an old system basically. I mean, it's I wouldn't say outdated. Let's say it's just a different structure. Yeah, I think
But
the one
everything, don't you think everything is all about aviation world? I mean, the
everything.
traditional
I
flight
think
training
it's
that
slow.
people are having from 1930s, 40s.
It's a slow industry. Let's say it's very. The crazy part is the industry has to always adapt so quickly, but we always adapt with like old techniques, which is also interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I have one question. I just
Yeah.
remembered it. Man, just can you just describe it how you're managing those things like you share, and most probably your company is aware of you, because there's no way you have a million followers almost on TikTok. There's no way that you can't be famous. I shared a video and immediately Emrys wanted to delete one video. So I was like, okay. I was like, I put myself in your place. I would have been fired long time ago if I did the same thing. So
Yeah.
how do you manage these things, like, sharing cockpit videos is okay or something like this?
Yeah.
What is the rule in your company?
So it was different in both companies. So in my previous company, I mean, when I started off, obviously, and I started recording videos, I didn't have a permission initially because it was, I was small. There was nothing special about it. Like there's so many pilots recording their own videos. It was no big thing. And I tried to contact my airline at that point, where I saw it's gonna actually become a bit bigger, to get like official permission and actually even support the airline in the end. That's why I still don't mention their name, because I'm also still not happy to support them too much with my publicity, let's say, yeah. So at that point, I never reached anyone. I tried many times and nobody ever came back to me, actually. And I was surprised because I thought, yeah, I'm big on the internet, but they just never really cared about it. I've seen some people there who were allowed to do official stuff and some other guys were denied doing official stuff. So I think it really depended on the mood of the company. And my new airline now, obviously, I was way bigger already, and I approached them. I was like, listen, I do this social media stuff. And as you have seen my videos, I mean, there's always a mix of my content between education and a mix between just entertainment. And I think that's what my airline now like. They see I do professional videos. I don't do just stupid funny videos, let's say, where I'm dancing in the cockpit or something. And they were super supportive about it. They were saying, we really like this stuff as long as you have a positive message. You could even share the airline, they said. For now, I have chosen to keep it more disclosed, but they're really supportive about it. And I think that's a modern way of looking at this, because in the end, as you see, like the people who watch our streams or our videos, they're just us 10, 15, 20 years ago. When we were kids or teenagers, we were dreaming of becoming a pilot. And there was just no way. There was very few internet blogs or articles. You couldn't find out anything. You couldn't even talk to a pilot, really, yeah? So I think what we are doing is something so positive for the entire industry, because we need pilots more than ever. We need people to be interested in aviation, to understand aviation. And by doing what we're doing, we're really, adapting to nowadays world, getting videos out there, positive messages out there, and getting the right people to this industry.
I see. We got a comment. Do you know any fire pilots due to videos? Is this
Yes.
question referred to me or you? Most
I
probably.
don't know. I mean, there's obviously stories. I think China knows the same stories like I do. For example, in my old company, it's not only about videos. It's can also be pictures. It's all about how professional are you in your environment. And we had some people who were fired in my previous company because they were posting pictures to their social medias, their private social media still, but it got out there where they were just making really, let's say, stupid pictures in the flight deck, even on the ground. It was on the ground. It was not a safety issue, but it was a publicity issue. So whenever you post something online, especially as a pilot, you have to be aware. Like whenever I post something, I still wear my stripes, I still wear my uniform. I'm still an ambassador, not only to my company, but to the industry. So of course, you can always have a little joke, but you should also kind of find the balance between making jokes and making educational stuff and professional content, obviously.
That's right. There's a very thin line,
Yeah.
Because being a famous person also comes with a price. Everyone is watching you. If you make if you say something I'm not talking about you. If you say something offensive to anyone, then you might be in trouble. And also it depends. You're lucky because you're living in Europe, and the Europe is like more. The people are like, okay, this is your life. kind of stuff, but Middle East approach is totally different. I mean, they have very strict social media policy. I mean, there is no way that you can share lots of things like this, and there's like, it's in the books, everything is forbidden. If you do something, you're always violating the rules and everything. But I really like the way that you focus the education. I watched almost each videos of yourself, and I like that how you're creating very educative short TikTok videos, because I can see that it's not just landing. You put a description, you put the GPWS warning, you put like bubbles, and then you write explanations about it. You give technical details. I love one of your videos because you got the glide slope, but it's a short runway in Greece, and then you follow the puppies perfectly. People might think that, oh, this guy is getting glide slope, but actually you're following the actual thing. So you are educating things with the
Yeah,
I don't want to say non-normal,
yeah,
but non-common things, like
yeah,
sometimes you need to do it. You don't only give IN approaches information, but you give that it's normal to get the GPWS warning in the IN approaches, because this is the nature of it. This is what I'm trying to say.
exactly.
And I can see how much time you put, how much effort you put on those videos, man. You are doing
It
really
is.
great job.
I mean, I obviously how much time goes in there. It's incredible. I think people misinterpret how much time actually goes in there. So making a video, even if it's a 30-second TikTok video, takes at least, I would say, 1 to 2 hours of editing, and that's if you know what you're doing. So getting there, of course, takes experience, and that's the crazy part about it. But the educational part is exactly why, I mean, I in the end started the whole social media thing. It was never really about promoting myself. So I have like the TCP is like a character, let's say. So I don't promote my private person, my private self, to be famous as a private person. That was never the intention. So actually, I'm very, very happy that I had the chance, for example, to work with TikTok. So TikTok Germany, they approached me. They were like, "Listen, we like your videos. Can you maybe promote the way of becoming a pilot more on TikTok?" And I was like, "Sure, we can do that." And I did 40 videos together with TikTok. They're far, far down, I think, by now, where I just step by step went through what do you need to become a pilot, how can you apply, what is the process, and I think that's actually how we should kind of use the reach that we have. Obviously, it's nice to have entertainment, but I think people really appreciate this step extra when you go there and teach them. Or for example, if people are afraid of flying, to tell them, okay, this noise is perfectly normal, this shake is perfectly normal, there's nothing to worry about.
Yes, man, that's great. Keep it up. And I really like your videos. I like to watch your videos as well.
Same yourself, man.
Important question. Do you earn money from TikTok?
That's a very good question. Actually, yes. So I have actually this year I started, like, I signed up my own, let's say, company where I, for tax reasons have to declare stuff. To be fair, TikTok isn't gonna make you rich at all. So I mean, I have 800K followers, which is an insanely huge number. However, it's not like YouTube. If you would have 800K on YouTube, you would be a millionaire. Easy. You can make millions of that. On TikTok, however, on Instagram is also, again, a very different platform. On TikTok, it's not like this. So I get money for the video views, for the clicks, but that's not so much. I would say, on my videos, with this amount of people that I reach, I get like 100 to 200 euros per month just
It's
from the
nothing.
videos, which is nothing, obviously. For the effort, for the time that I put in this, that's nothing, obviously.
True, true.
So I think you start earning money when you collaborate with people, and you make some useful effort to reach people. I think then you can start earning more money with that.
I see. So most probably you're making money from the collaborations with the
Yeah.
like other companies and brands. Yeah. Maybe, you never know. Maybe, of course, as a pilot is difficult, but one day once you start earning more money than the pilot job that you are making,
Yeah.
do you think that you will be more social media phenomenon, or you will like to keep your job all the time,
I
like
think
main flying job?
I mean, I've had this is a more private thing, I would say, but I'm happy to talk about it because I think it's important to understand how aviation works. So I've had this conversation with my girlfriend recently about the future and how I see myself being a pilot, whatever. And the thing is, I mean, becoming a pilot, maybe for you the same, was my dream since I was a kid. So I always imagined I want to be a pilot. That's the only thing I want to do. And to be fair, it still makes me very happy. So I'm super, super happy that I went through and put in the effort to become a pilot because I really enjoy the job. However, as you know, it's a very, very demanding job. So I mean, I'm 28 now. If I imagine myself being 60 and still flying the amount of hours I do right now, which would be most likely, it's not a job that I would like to do, I think, at 60. It's a real nice job at 20, 30, 40 maybe. But above that, I can still imagine myself to leave the industry at some point, maybe work something else within the industry, but not necessarily as a pilot. I could imagine to become a trainer, but I can also imagine so many other things. And to be fair, the industry has changed. So the money you've earned, for example, let's say 30 years ago as a pilot, is a completely different story to the salaries people get nowadays. And if you become a pilot, most likely your education level is already quite high. And with this level of education, you could also do other jobs that pay you more money and give you more freedom of your time, more family life, more social life. And I think you have to find a balance. You have to decide for yourself. So for me, I'm still looking at different options. For now, I love the flying and I love experiencing this. But there might be a time where I say, you know what, this is enough. There's so many other options which are really great. So I'll have a look at that.
I agree. I totally agree. So you said that you have wide body in your company. Maybe you can be a wide body captain, so you will be working less. I mean, that can
Yeah,
be an option. That's how people are doing exactly in the US, because the more senior you are, you get older and older. It means automatically you work less and less, because you can hold as a senior captain or first officer like 20 days off in a month, and you work only 10 days. It's like 10 days. I don't know any job in the US that pay you full-time money, but at the same time you work half, like part-time.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
this is great.
Yeah,
So, but I totally agree what you said. It's very demanding job. Most of the people don't realize it is really demanding. Sometimes the worst thing, if you are working somewhere very difficult shift from 3 a.m. to, let's say, 10 a.m. in the morning, it is difficult. But the thing is, you get used to it because you're always doing the same shift. But for a pilot, for our job, our shifts are changing every day. Today I woke up at 3 a.m. in the morning, and tomorrow I will wake up maybe 10 a.m. in the morning. Then next I will fly all night long. It's alternating a lot. So it is
exactly.
hardly impossible to adapt this kind of things. Your body is just something like, I was questioning, where am I? What am I doing? It takes literally a few seconds to realize what's it I am in when I wake up in the morning. Did you have this feeling?
Absolutely, absolutely. And actually, I mean, we spoke about it just before the stream, so I think it's interesting to share. I mean, I was working in your previous company as well, so I was working in Emirates as well as a cabin crew. So I've seen
Yeah,
the
that's really nice, huh?
yeah. I mean, that is a really cool connection, I would say. And to me, that was a crazy experience to see long haul operations mostly. I mean, what we're doing now here in Europe is mostly short, medium haul operations. But then in Emirates, especially on 777, I've done ultra long haul flights. I was flying from, for example, Dubai to New Zealand. I had the Auckland direct flight, which was 17 hours and 45 minutes of flight time. And I tell you, it's an incredible experience because it's completely different. And back then I was 21, so I was at the peak of my fitness, let's say. And now imagine if you're, let's say, 55 and you do such a flight, you really have to figure things out in your life. You need to do fitness, you need to exercise somehow, because otherwise it's not going to work for your body.
And true, and definitely right. And it's even worse for cabin crew, because as a pilot, when if you fly these long range flights with VLRs, you're four pilots and you get half of the time almost rest. But cabin crew, they don't get that much, so
Yeah.
it's very difficult for them. Yeah, but right now it's already 38 minutes. How about if we answer some questions, because I can see we have lots of questions, so that maybe we can try to answer them. What do you think?
Let's put some in for sure.
Sure. Okay, let's see. What questions do we have?
There we go. So Caroline is saying both is good, but if I had to decide, then I would go for a dog.
Dog.
For a dog, I think she was saying the family life, right? So if you have to decide oh, we're going here. Most important questions: cats or dog? I think that was she was referring to that. But I mean, I'm dreaming still of this day to have a dog. We used to have a dog at home, and I think if I have a family, that's another member that is definitely needed.
Yeah. I thought I'm a more a dog person, but dog, as you know, is extremely difficult to have, because you need to take
Hard.
care going out, walking.
Yeah.
But now we have a cat. So I have a cat. So once I get it, I didn't think that I'm a cat person, but now I love my cat a lot. She's already 2 years old. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to choose for me right now.
So I think
How
this
is the
one,
situation in Europe? Should we start
yeah.
flight school, do you both enjoy short haul or on 737? Okay, would you
So
like to answer?
I will start with the situation, and then we can talk about the 7.3. So the situation in Europe is getting much, much better. So I've told this to people during COVID already. I was certain it was not going to last forever. People were panicking about it for a long time, and then obviously it had to recover at some point. So the funny part was now many people just didn't trust it's going to end, and they never started their flight training. So now we are having the situation in Europe, I think all around the world, actually in the States as well, that there is a 2-year gap of people not having had started their training. So suddenly now the airlines are starting to hire again, they're starting to grow again, and there's no pilots. So the situation is really good for a pilot now, because now there's a lot of jobs and the jobs get better, the money is getting better, the whole working conditions are getting better, simply because there's just not enough people. So the whole demand and supply thing now really plays out well for the pilots. And if you want to start, as you're saying, should we start with flight school? I think so. I would say yes. I mean, nobody, China or I, both can't really tell you what's going to happen in 2 years, because it can change so quickly. You know, the war is in Ukraine, for example, is an example. We didn't know what's going to come. COVID was another example. We didn't know what was going to come. But still, I would take the decision if I had the time and the money, the support. Let's say I would still go do the training now, and in 2 years, most likely, if nothing else happens, there will be a lot of good jobs for you.
I totally agree. I have my own web page. Each week I was writing an article about it. I've been getting lots of questions about this. Should I start? Because I don't know if I cannot find a job. I said, look, people stop trainings and there are going to be less fresh pilots in the market for the next couple of years than ever. So it's a great opportunity to find a great job once you finish your training. And I
Yeah.
totally agree. I agree with you. So do you enjoy short haul flying? Me personally, I don't like it. I don't like 1 hour, 30 minutes flight. If I choose, I would choose either 2, 3 hours flight in one day, so I can have 7, 8 hours, and then I can have 10 of them in a month, and I would prefer to have 20 days off if I could choose.
Absolutely.
And I don't like 4 sectors in one day, but this is how it is. You cannot choose, but at least I beat in my company in a way that to avoid 3 leg, 4 leg days, and I would like to have like at least 6, 7 hours per day so I can maximize my days off. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, what you did is a good decision for sure. Because I mean, I'm in the beginning of my career. We have to say that as well, because you can't really decide when you have no experience. You're starting fresh. There's nobody's going to ask you what you want to do. In Europe, you're going to start with short haul flights. Actually, most parts of the world, you're going to start on short haul. So usually there's a requirement of, let's say, 1,500 hours or 2,000 hours at least to switch over to a wide body job. That's what most airlines will want.
True,
So
that was 2000 for Emirates, for instance. You're right.
exactly. So Emirates is a scenario that I can imagine, for example, for myself in the future, but I still need a certain level of experience. So I'm still, let's say, 1 year or a bit less than a year, but I'm still a year away from this kind of a job. I still enjoy short haul flights because I'm still, only at 1,300 hours. So flying still is new to me every day. It's still a lot of fun, let's say. But as Chana says, I think the lifestyle on a long haul or wide body aircraft is a bit better generally. You'll have layovers, you're going to see the world more, you're going to travel more. And I think that's something what I'm looking at as well, what I could imagine myself to do. Because I think on the long run, the short haul flights, they will be tiring. The older you get, I think, as Chana said, it's just not really nice.
Totally agree. Next question from Mohammed.
So which country should I pursue my pilot training from? Which country gives me a higher chance to be a pilot in a good company? And I think I've gotten this question a lot, especially in Europe. I mean, I can't really speak about the world, but I will speak about Europe. So in Europe, you will get an EASA license. So the governing authority is EASA in Europe. And basically, all European states are part of EASA. For example, if you do your training in Germany, in Spain, in France, the Czech Republic, in Poland, wherever you name it, you will get the same license. Of course, the authority from Germany will give you a piece of paper and then the Spanish one, but the whole body above that will be a European license. With a European license, you can apply anywhere in Europe easily. They will not care. So, for example, if you join an airline in Spain, they don't care if your license is from France or from Germany or from Poland, because they know you have reached the EASA standard. You have reached the European standard of flight training and flight safety. They will give you the job regardless. So what I tell people is, if you're willing to do so, and I encourage young people to do so, move your country. If you're let's say from Spain, Spanish flight training sometimes is really expensive. For example, the Czech Republic or Poland is much cheaper. You can still move from, from your country to Poland or Czech Republic, you get a European license, but at a much, much lower cost. And it's going to be a great experience. You're going to have 2 years in a different country, different culture. You're going to educate your English a bit more because training will be in English. And so I think that's a great opportunity to save some money, but also travel abroad for a while.
I agree. That's what I recommend most of the time. I would like to tell everyone, Eastern European countries is relatively cheaper to be a pilot rather than, going to like Ireland, UK, Spain. This is extremely expensive, and you get at the same time the same license. I mean, issuing authority is different, but at the end of the day, same thing. I agree. Okay, let's continue with the next question.
Right. My question, any advice for the airline interview for Initios GQ in Europe? Well, I've done a couple of those actually in my life, and they've always been pretty much the same. So usually what you can, imagine, there's going to be 3 people mostly. There's going to be an HR person. There's going to be a pilot who usually is also a trained psychologist, or sometimes at least a training captain. And you have a full-time psychologist who is from an external company, just checking how you behave. So it's going to be 3 people. And usually these interviews are really, really nice because they are the very, very last step of the whole process. You've done a couple of other assessments before you reach this point. And the airline by that time, they have spent a lot of money on you for your initial assessment, for your simulator assessment. When you sit in this room, basically this means they want you. They really, really want you. And that you should know, you can be confident about that. However, now they will test you. So they will talk to you for, let's say, 30 minutes to 1 hour. And they will see, so we like him, or we like her, but is the picture we have of him or her correct? And they will check it. So they will ask you several questions, left and right and left and right. Sometimes in a good cop, bad cop style, it will put you under pressure. Then they're not going to be nice to you. Then they're going to put you under pressure again, just to see how you react, how do you adapt, and what is your true self? Because under stress, you're going to kind of lose. If you have a fake character, you will lose it under that stress. And most of the time, if you stick to the truth, if you're just honest about things, it will be fine because they don't look for a perfect person. They are humans. They know you are a human. If you pretend you're the superstar, you're a super pilot, and you're the best guy, they will not like you. They will not take you, actually. But if you show them, I've had my training, but I've had certain failures. What did I learn from my failures? How did I get myself to go again? How do I see myself as a pilot or in this company? They will like this much more if you're just a down-to-earth person. Let's say what they usually say is slightly above average, not far above, slightly above average person in whatever you talk about. So take it easy. Don't worry too much about it, because if you get this far, they want you, and you just have to really seal the deal.
That's great. I have nothing to add, but I just remind, I have 2 YouTube videos about it. One, how did I become an airline pilot?
Even better.
I explain myself in each step, what did I do. And also I have another video, how you should prepare for an airline interview. Regardless of your experience, you can be a initio guy, or you're a very experienced captain preparing for another company, because I've been to many airline interviews before, and I got really good success of being accepted. So as you said, actually, once you join one interview, it's going to be exactly the same the second thing. Of course, you will get the same different questions, different sets of questions, but as you describe, more or less same thing. Once you get it, they will push you, but they're not going to be your enemy. They're just trying to see you. And once if you are in that panel interview, most probably you have passed many stages already. They want to give the final decision, and then they want to see you, and that's it. And exactly. What you have described, TCB, was great. Thank you so much. Exactly. We can have another question.
Yeah, I'm just going to say this real quick to my people. Sure. If you're watching right now, guys, first of all, thank you for being here, but also please have a look at Chana's videos. Exactly. These kind of videos are going to help you. They're going to make a difference. So if you have your interview coming up, Chana is a fantastic example. He's worked for 3 fantastic top airlines right now. I think you will not find a guy at this age who has achieved so much. So take these videos seriously. They will help you. They will make a difference. So go have a look and subscribe. You're welcome. You deserve that.
Is there really a pilot shortage? Because there are lots of pilots without a job.
Well, I always, yes, there is a shortage because there is a shortage of good pilots, let's say. So there's pilots, and becoming a pilot might not be as difficult as many people imagine it to be. So by the time you get to an assessment, there will be 10 pilots, And even if there's a shortage and the airline needs 10 pilots, the airline still has a certain standard. Of course, you have a license, you're a trained pilot, let's say, but that doesn't make you a fantastic pilot, let's say, socially. If you're able to be a leader, if you're able to be a team player, if you have the certain skills interpersonally, it's a completely different scenario than having a license. And the airlines will check you for that. So the people who usually end up not having a job for years and for years and for years, they either are really unlucky, or but more likely just not ready to get out of their comfort zone, not ready to work a bit harder. Because I think there's always, I mean, obviously COVID was a hard time, but now we're far beyond that. If you don't find a job right now, there definitely is something wrong. I think, you know, sometimes we can have bad luck. It's not all in our control, but I think there's really plenty of jobs right now.
I totally agree. And I would like to add something like this, guys. Being a pilot, you should be able to expand your comfort zone. You should be leaving your comfort zone easily because you are doing an international job. There are lots of pilots without job, yes, but you need to plan your future, what you are aiming, what you are targeting in the next 5, 10, 15 years. What's your priorities? So you should go towards your goals. If you want to stay as a bush pilot, and then you would like to say, okay, I would like to live in Alaska, I would like to have these fancy jobs, and you don't have any turbine time, but you can be a pilot for 15 years without any turbine experience, and you could have amazing skills. You can land on the river or do something, but you never have turbine experience, jet experience. And then 20 years old with 1 year experience or 0 hours experience guy can come and take the job, while you could say, I'm 15 years of experience, but why I couldn't get it. So you should plan your futures. You need to make long-term plans. Where are you? Maybe you would be okay to go Africa to get a turbine job and fly there 737, 727, or very old airplane, and then you gain 1500s, get ATPL, and then come back wherever you would like to fly and get this job, because then you will have turbine hours. Don't think about the money, salary, just prioritize yourself and see where you would like to be in the next 20 years. And you don't say I have lots of friends like this. Oh, I cannot live anywhere else apart from Frankfurt or somewhere else. I'm just having the city name. You shouldn't be that pilot. You should do whatever it needs to be done to reach your goals. Like, for instance, I wanted to achieve this, then I'm going towards this path. And then eventually, when I applied my US Airlines with 5,000 hours almost in my package jet hours, and then, of course, you make the difference. But if I had 0 jet hours with 0 US flying experience, most probably I wouldn't make it with the same qualifications that I have. I mean, the academic background. So this is extremely important as well.
Exactly. Yeah, I can only agree with that.
Yeah. Next question.
That's
piloting in Turkey is considered a high-level profession. Is the same in America or Europe, especially when you compare it with other professions, engineering, doctor, lawyer, and etc. I would say I've been to pilot in Turkey, in Europe, not in Europe, in Middle East, and in the US. I must say that the pilot being a pilot, airline pilot, is well-respected job regardless of your salary. When you say I'm a pilot, people are respecting, you see them, wow, because this is not because of now you are doing I feel like we are doing great job, but there are really, really, really few pilots in the world compared to the rest of the population. Can you imagine how many millions of teachers you have in the world, engineers in the world, but you don't have that much pilot in the world,
I actually think by numbers, I think I've read recently, I think there's 250,000 commercial pilots in the world only. That's
exactly. It's nothing compared to a job doctor, engineer, nurse, or lawyer. There are millions of them. Since pilots, there are not many pilots around, and you don't see many pilots in your daily life because we are very population-wise not much. Therefore, people are thinking, wow, that's a great job. There's one psychological effect that. But the salary-wise, when it comes to that, I mean, for instance, in Europe, you can answer that better. The salaries are not fluctuating that much if you're an engineer, doctor, or pilot. Most probably, a doctor can get paid more than an average pilot. I don't even know. But in Turkey, it's not like this, man. In Turkey, maybe the being pilot is the most international paying job ever, because a doctor in Turkey earns crap. Teacher earns nothing. Literally, we are talking about less than $1,000 a month, sorry,
Yeah,
as a
crazy.
teacher in Turkey. But you cannot employ
Yeah.
a pilot in Turkey with this salary. So my friends, they're captain in Turkey, they're earning less. Recently, I spoke with my friend. He get paid this month $15,000. So since it's really nice paying job in Turkey, that's why the people are like, wow,
Yeah.
pilots earn a
Yeah.
lot. But in fact, this is not the case in Europe. What do you think?
I mean, first of all, I agree that generally worldwide, this is a fantastic profession. You will, wherever you go, people will respect the job. I mean, it's not only about, as you said, the money. It's also about the fact that you take the responsibility for a lot of people. So I think that's something you need to be aware of. We carry the lives of 200, 300, 400, 500 people at a time, and we have to remain professional because we're responsible for their safety. And I think that's where people respect us. Money-wise, talking, I think a pilot job is still obviously one of the best paying jobs worldwide, just because it's such a niche profession. As we said, there's not many pilots around. Again, supply and demand. If there's not a huge supply of pilots, the salaries will be very, very high because the demand for pilots is crazy. So now looking at Germany, for example, I think the yearly income, the average yearly income in Germany is 35,000 euros gross, so before the tax. So people, let's say, go home with roughly 20,000, 25, no, let's say 20,000 euros per year net in their bag. So basically, they will get 2,000 euros or a bit less than this per month. A pilot, however, you can earn easily almost double than that. If you're a first officer, if you just started your career. So maybe if you're 21, 22, 23, I'm 28, whatever, still young, you will earn more money, much more money than people who become an engineer or doctor or lawyer, because you have to study 5 years to become a lawyer, 6 years to become a lawyer, a doctor, and only then you start earning money. So 6 years for education, no money, and then after 6 years you start with a kind of a good salary, but still not as good as a pilot. So it will take you many years to start earning what we earn quite early. And then again, if you become a captain, you earn easily 1.5 times more than a doctor or lawyer, because they are also kind of limited. For pilots, the salaries, if you go to the Middle East, to China, again, if you're out of your comfort zone, there will be crazy jobs. You can earn 20, 30,000 US dollars per month as a captain if you're going out of your comfort zone.
And I would like to recommend everyone to expand their comfort zone, because I did. I was a pilot in Turkey. I was speaking my own native language. I was not struggling. And then it's like, I said, okay, I will challenge myself. Then I challenge myself. Then I challenge myself. And then I'm not talking about the money. I earn amazing money in Dubai. Now I'm coming here in the long term. It's really good salary here too. But I am never money oriented. I'm never driven by money. But I just explore everything. As a pilot at the age of 33, with 6 years experience, I flew over
Incredible.
North Pole. I
Yeah.
flew literally 90 North Pole. I had flights who start at night from Dubai, landed still at night in the US, and I didn't see the sun for 16 hours. I've been to many continents, actually each continent except Antarctica. And all these things comes when you expand your borders, and then you can, expand your comfort zone. If you just stick something, I mean, if you could find a great company, if it is matching what you want to do in your life, this is perfect. But in the future, I mean, you think of that as well. The more you expand your borders and comfort zone, you will have, and you will see many things.
And I think you're doing it looking at you and me and my career, I really have to admire what you've done so far, because I'm where you were 5 years ago, let's say. I think literally with our age, we're matching the careers kind of. And
Exactly.
I'm 33. I hope I can tell the stories that you're telling, because that's what this job is about, right? You have to get out, take the chance and take the opportunity, because we're lucky. In our position, we're really lucky to experience this kind of work. And I can only say it's amazing what you've done so far.
Actually, yeah, you're right, man. I became a pilot at the age of 24. You, more or less, same time, you became a pilot as well. So we are following the same path.
Yeah,
You don't know,
but
maybe
I
our
will
path
just
will
follow.
cross someday.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, another question.
Oh, that's for you.
Oh, actually, this is for you. Yeah, I'm just considering what's he thinking about Turkey. Has he ever been to Turkey? What's he thinking about the aviation in Turkey?
Good question. A friend of mine, he is from Turkey, and he always, asked me, and I've seen Turkish culture through him, and I have to say it's a lovely culture, first of all. So I can. He always told me about Istanbul, how fantastic the city is. I still haven't visited Istanbul, but what I hear is it's a fantastic, fantastic place to work because it's the European side, you have the Asian side, and I think there's very few places on earth that have such a mixed culture, beautiful way of life. So working in Istanbul, I could totally imagine. However, I've only been to Antalya a few times with my airline now. I've never stepped on the ground really. I've never been there on a holiday or nothing, but I think, for example, Turkish Airlines, Caner knows more than me. I would have to ask him first if I should go or not. We'll do that privately. But generally speaking, Turkish Airlines is a well-known airline across the world. They're basically one of the best airlines, top 3 airlines in the world. If you work for such an airline, I think, yeah, I can imagine doing that. If you're in the top 3, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And the aviation in Turkey is getting bigger and bigger each day. A couple of days ago, I just read the news. Istanbul Airport, literally got the busiest date in the history and number 1 in Europe right now. 70. Maybe I'm wrong, but
the new one, yeah, for sure.
100 traffic in one day in a single airport, which is a huge number of flights. It's the record in Europe, I believe, and it's getting more and more. And they're expanding. They will order another 300 airplanes.
If it does that really holds opportunity. You have to say it's just real opportunity.
When you have a look at the historic way of the aviation started from the west. Like London was, the hit spot for Europe. Then it moves towards east. Right now, it's somewhere then it became Charles de Gaulle, Frankfurt, and now Istanbul is way better than those when it comes to traffic because the center of gravity goes towards the east, towards India side. I believe in the next 15, 20 years, Indian market will be the number 1 in the world when it comes to traffics and population and everything. Okay, another question. Sorry.
No, that's something. Again, you have to be open-minded because the trend will change the world. And if you want to succeed as a pilot, as a young pilot, you will have to be open-minded for that.
True. Definitely, I agree.
Yeah. What do you think about pay-to-fly to gain flying experience methods some airlines offer? So Enza, by the way, nice to see you. He's one of my long-time followers. It's very nice of you here. I have to say the whole pay-to-fly concept is absolutely disgusting. Yeah, I will say it plainly like this. I think Caner will agree. It's basically the only profession that I know about where you pay, let's say, 100,000 euros for your flight training plus 30,000 euros for your type rating, for example. 130K for your education in Europe is not, we're not in the States. In Europe, it's insanely crazy to pay for that. And then start working a job in an airline where they don't pay you the money, they just let you fly so you gain hours. That is disgusting beyond. And I wouldn't support this. If you are a young pilot right now, or if you want to be a pilot, let's say in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years, trust me, there will be jobs at some point. I also didn't have to pay so much money because I was waiting for the right opportunity. Do not go there. Do not sign these kind of contracts. There will be better contracts. There will be airlines that will be happy to have you. They will give you a good salary, a good package. Just wait for your chance. If you have to wait for 1 year, wait for 1 year, but do not sign this kind of stuff. It's not worth it.
I agree, it's crap. I hate these abusive systems. They're trying to get advantage from you. They would like to get the flights done because, guys, once you start flying the airline and literally you are operating this airplane, they put passengers behind those. Still, you are in training and you gain experience on that, but still you're carrying passengers with you and they're making money from the passengers and they're taking money from you as well. So this is crazy. This is crazy, and I would never ever support this. This is I take it as a humiliative. Pilot shouldn't be humiliated, and this shouldn't be allowed in the industry. Can you imagine? You are a doctor, you take your diploma, and you go to a surgery, and you will pay money to make a surgery. There is no such a thing anywhere in the world, and I really hate that civil aviation authorities in the world are not blocking this. All civil aviation authorities are doing stupid things. Oh, you cannot do this. They're making stupid rules when it comes to FTL, that, fancy stuff, but they should block these things. For instance, I'm super lucky. I didn't hear that much in Turkey, but there are some companies, I don't want to give the name, but they're doing it. I will never, ever do this. It's very humiliative. That's what I take from this point. I will never do this.
We agree on that.
Yeah, next question. Sorry, guys, if you become very angry on this question, but as a pilot,
It is.
I think of my future pilot friends because we are doing the same jobs, and then I found it very, very insulting to
Yeah.
pay a company while you are working for them.
You want to take this one?
I'm an Indian, and it's great to pursue pilot career in India or from the US or Europe. Man, if I were you, I would stick in India because the career opportunity that you could get in the next 10 years would be amazing.
I
Each
think
year,
so.
you can see in India, different companies are created. They're hiring pilots. And most of the pilots right now in India, you don't have enough pilots. Your population is almost a billion. I don't know, maybe even more than a billion, but you don't have enough pilots. And if you stay in India, you could have an amazing career.
I
But
think you will have a fantastic private life as well. If you're a pilot in India, first of all, we talked about status. Your status is going to be good. Money is going to be good. You will live like a king. If you're from India, that's your lucky point. You will speak the language. You're home there. You have your family, your friends there. Trust me, I think it's not worth going to Europe or the States. I don't know, up to you. Europe for sure. Please don't do this. For your training, maybe yes, but other than that, I think you're in a very lucky spot.
yeah, I agree. As a real pilot,
Yeah.
would you explain if it is possible to fly 78777 in the company? Do companies allow to fly multiple types? I heard many opinions and I'm confused. Yeah, I mean, it depends. It depends on the company. 78 and 777 is common type. That's how they call it. Actually, you get one type rating depending on the Civil Aviation Authority. You will be qualified to fly 787 or 777, but it doesn't mean that you will fly. So, for instance, there are companies they've operated common type. So if you have one type rating in Turkish Airlines, for instance, you can fly triple and 787 at the same time. They want you to fly some certain type first. Then once you gain experience, they introduce the other training, and then you can fly one day 777 and one day 787. But there are other companies, like as far as I remember, Qatar, they have separated those fleets,
Yeah,
777,
separated. Yeah.
787. So those guys, either 787 they're flying or 777 they're flying. If you're
Yeah.
asking my honest opinion, I didn't fly 787, but from my friends' experience, they say that these airplanes are not that close to each other. So they're
Completely
like
different.
totally different
Yeah.
characteristics they have. I would prefer to have separate type, but it doesn't mean that you cannot fly. I would rather to fly one type rather than changing most of the time. You even realize it's while flying 737, right? Because
Yeah.
737, 800, 900 max
Yeah.
PR, once you change the
It's enough.
configuration, you have
Yeah.
little changes and you're like, or what am I going to do now? But when you change a huge type from triple to 7.8, it's going to be even more
Yeah.
alternate. I would prefer to stick on one type. What do you think?
I think especially looking at emergencies like that, we always have to look at the safety perspective of things. Having a common type 787 to 777 is just a money factor. So Boeing just did that, or Airbus is doing that, just so that airlines have another easy option to buy a new type. They don't want to spend more money on the training. However, as a pilot, the training actually would be needed because we have to do emergencies in the worst case scenario. At the end of the day, if one of our engine blows up, we have to be able to handle this. A 777 may look the same, but it was going to be handled completely different in an engine failure than a 787. It's a way more modern aircraft, different engines, different behavior. Yes, and even the 737, we have the same switches. Like as Chania said initially, the 737 is so similar to 777. I could probably sit in the 777 tomorrow. I could fly it probably, survive in it. But in an emergency, I would have no clue how to correctly handle this aircraft because it's a completely different scenario. And so in that case, I would agree with you. It's rather better to have one type and focus on a type, be proficient in that one type.
Yeah, but as you said, now everything is money. The companies are trying to reduce the training time, and also air manufacturers like Boeing and Airbus trying to reduce the training requirements so that they can sell those airplanes to each airline. So they're thinking from different perspective. Pilots are thinking from different perspective. Airlines are thinking from different perspective as well.
Different world nowadays. It's difficult.
Exactly, I totally agree. Another one. Okay, guys, last two questions if you're okay with that,
Yep.
and then we can go to video reactions. It's gonna be awesome because
I'm excited for that part. I'm currently in grade 11. I'm just going to read it for you. It's currently grade 11. I'm struggling with my maths and physics. Do you think I have time to improve for when I apply for flight schools and airlines? I plan to join a flight school in 2025. I think I'm gonna start. You can add for that because that question is something I think both of us get a lot of times. They're like, do we have to be really, really good in school in all subjects? No, you don't have to be. So first of all, becoming a pilot is based on assessments. So nobody's really going to look at your school grades. They will be talked about in an interview, maybe for a short while, but you can be an average student and you will still be a good pilot. It has nothing to do with your grades, let's say. So especially now looking at maths and physics and English, those are the three subjects you would kind of, perform well to at least have an easier life becoming a pilot. But mathematics, for example, you need easy multiplications, easy equations, percentage calculations. That's the kind of stuff you would need as a pilot, and that's the stuff that it will check on you in an assessment. You don't need the higher algebra, whatever stuff in grade 11, 12, 13, for example. This is the stuff they will not ask you because it has nothing to do with flying. Same for physics. They will not ask you about high-level physics. They'd rather want you to understand speeds, and acceleration, temperature, density, these kind of topics and how they work together. That's the basic stuff, and that's the stuff you really need. So don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. There's some great books out there. I'm not sure if you've done a video on this. Maybe Chanai has. He's going to say something about it. But I think there's some great books teaching you mathematics and physics for pilots because it's not too bad, really, guys.
I agree. When I was a cadet, when I was preparing for Turkish Airlines cadet pilot interview, so when I applied for the job, we got an assessment called DLR. Have you ever heard of it?
I did it myself. Yeah.
Exactly. So there is one examination called DLR, Delta Lima Romeo. So when you Google it, you can see what kind of math and physics questions they're asking. They're basically high school level, very, very, very basic, but they want you to understand the basics. Not like, university level, you need to have a pen and make like equations and you solve the problem. It doesn't work like this. Very simple high school grade physics and mathematics. So to answer your question, you better Google DLR physics and math and English exam, then you can have a rough idea what kind of questions you might get. And that's only what you need while you are having it. I have friends who got this, pilot training, and they didn't have like engineering background or something. They studied art, they studied something else, and they've been selected to pilot selection process. So don't focus. Don't think that, I cannot be a pilot because my math is not good, my physics is not good. You can make it. All right. If you're okay with that, one more question, then we will continue. Happy with that?
Let's do one more.
One more. Let's see what we are gonna have. All right. I can start with that if you want.
For me, please.
What was the most critical moment during your operations you guys had to manage? Are you talking about the non-normal or in general most critical phase of the flight?
I think it's more of a non-normal. If you've had non-normals, and which is the worst?
I'm thinking, what did I have? I mean, since I've been flying for the 8-9 years, something that normally people could be wow, and I would be like, okay, this happens. What did I have? I'm thinking, not the non-normal, but I really flew in very terrible, weather conditions. Like I was like, wow, it's really worse. Like if we are gonna make it or not, land, and should we go around? But non-normal wise, bird strike or lightning strike I had. Like bird literally just hit in the front wheels. Like you are flying very fast, 230, 220 like knots per hour. Then in a sudden a bird comes and hits, and you are jumping from the seat because you're not expecting, and then everything got blooded. You don't, got blood of the bird, like, huge.
I like that.
And then you don't see anything. Yeah. And I was lucky. It happened to captain side more than I landed, but literally it was like, and you should be very careful because when you have the wipers, then it's going to be worse. You should be very careful while operating the wipers. That's the first thing. And the second thing, that I had lightning strike. Literally, I never had before like that much. And we were not even in the clouds. We had a lightning strike, and all my world got white. I couldn't see anything. And then we heard such a huge noise. But first you see the light, then you don't see anything. You just see all white. And then you hear the noise, boom.
Yeah.
that was like very, how can I say, not scary, but you're not expecting, you have startled for those things, you know.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you have anything?
I've had bird strikes hitting the aircraft, thankfully not in the bad spot and also not on the windscreen, but just like under the nose, basically. Yeah, it's a loud bang. It can startle you, as you said, but I've not had anything bad, to be fair. I mean, again, I've only been flying for 1,300, 1,400 hours. So I think on average it will take a bit more time to have a real bad day. Generally speaking, guys, most days, 99.9% of the days, they just go by and everything's perfectly fine, because that's our job. We take care to prevent such situations other than weather or birds, but it's really unlikely that we have a bad situation. Critical, the word critical, even less so. I don't think there's many critical situations. We are ready for the critical situations, but they just really maybe once or twice in your career, if at all, will occur, not more.
Yeah, true. I agree. And that's why we are preparing for in the simulator for these non-normals, right?
Exactly. That's the whole point.
Okay, guys, that's it for question answers. Before moving the next part, if we couldn't answer your questions, sorry for that, because we have limited time. It's already 1 hour 15 minutes. But please, you can follow me on Instagram or on YouTube and follow TCP as well. He has TikTok mostly, you know, I'm almost targeting 1 million. Just follow him there, Instagram and YouTube as well. So you can send the questions that we couldn't answer because I cannot see the questions right now. What did you ask? But anytime you can send private messages through this social media, and we will try our best to answer each of them.
I think this is exactly the thing that tells us we have to do another stream, man. I think we had a lot of questions. I think we have to do it again.
Yeah, exactly, man. We should do it again. And maybe I can introduce you to Patrick. He's a friend of mine as well. He's a pilot in Lufthansa. That
We will
time
bring three
can
people
make
together,
three
yeah.
of us.
Even better. Even better.
And
We'll
we
do
can
that.
make like one dedicated live broadcast to some funny aviation videos, like memes or something like this. We can comment about them and we can have a discussion. You guys, what do you think about this idea? If you like this idea, please also send your comments. We will read each of them, and then we can decide to come all together one day and we can make a nice live broadcast as well.
I think that's
all right.
great.
That being said, now time for video reactions. But before that, what do you think? Would you like to have a couple of minutes break? Because you're wearing mask. I don't know if you need to drink water.
I have to say, I'm very well trained to stream with a mask, man. I've done live streams 2-3 hours long with the mask and have not taken a sip of water. I was drinking before, so I'm actually good to go. If you are, we can do the videos.
No, there we can continue. Because I'm drinking my water at the same time, but the problem is you keep yourself anonymous, so yeah.
That's all right for me, but thank you very much. So let's jump into it.
All right. As I told you before, he doesn't know what videos we are gonna put there. So I'm not kidding. He doesn't know. And then
I do not know.
Exactly. And then we will discuss, and then I'll ask him questions. We are gonna be trying me more like educative side as well. So I would like to ask questions to him as well. All right.
Let's see.
Let's start with the first video.
Epic low visibility landing in the Boeing 7.
Nice. We started with low visibility.
Yeah, I love that video. I haven't watched it for so long, but it's actually one of my favorite videos because I think that moment was it's an incredible moment. As you saw before, it was still blue sky, and it looks like we're in a high altitude. It doesn't look like we're landing in just a minute. And going into fog like this for the first time, I think is scary, but it's incredible that we can do it actually with an aircraft. But yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, nice. So I have a couple of questions. I see that your hands are on the yoke, but who is flying at that moment? Because up to now in my companies, first officers are not allowed to fly, being pilot flying while you are gonna
Yeah,
make low visibility approach. You were just following this, or you were pilot flying?
so it's a very interesting procedure. My new airline, it's not like this anymore. My old airline, it is like this, and I think I do like the concept. So basically, my airline was saying the first officer was flying the aircraft. Of course, the autopilot, and then this is an automatic landing, guys. So basically, with this kind of visibility in fog, the autopilot is landing. However, one guy is still pilot flying. I'm still controlling the aircraft. I'm still manipulating the autopilot and everything. And basically, how it works is, if something was wrong, if the autopilot just disconnects for whatever reason, I'm the one there holding the controls. I'm ready to do a go around and fly the aircraft. So why is this? The reason is, for a low visibility approach, all we need is to see the runway at some point. At the minimums, which is 50 feet, 15 meters above the ground, which is nothing, guys. That's the bare minimum we need to go around. We need to see lights. And the captain is the one deciding whether to land or to continue. So he's the one actually looking outside of the window during this approach. He's looking outside. And at the 50 feet moment, if he sees the runway, he then takes over the controls. So his hands are ready to take the controls, but he's looking outside only. I'm the one looking at the instruments. I'm making sure the autopilot is safe. At minimums, the minimum call out comes if the captain says continue, I let go, like in the video, I let go, and because he now holds the controls and he will guard the autopilot and the autopilot will land. But for example, if the captain at minimums says go around, I fly the go around. So I press toga, I will make sure the autopilot is still flying the go around. If it fails, I fly it manually. And also if the captain, let's say, for whatever reason, he faints at the minimum point. At minimum, there's no call. He doesn't say continue. He doesn't say go around, nothing. For me, that means go around. Maybe something's wrong. I just hit the toga button, I push the throttle in, and I fly the go around.
I see. It's a very different approach because all my 3 companies that I've worked before, that's the only very few things that the captains are doing, like being pilot flying in this kind of approaches from top of descent all the way down. So that's really nice to know. That's how
I like the idea though. In my new airline, it's different. I think it's like in yours now, so that the captain is flying it. But I have to say, I do like the concept because fly, it makes sense over here.
Sorry, we just had a problem. Yeah.
All good. So I'm like, why not let the first officer fly? We're trying to do this approach, so it's perfectly safe. It's perfectly fine. And also now the captain still has the full control. He can still take over. But he looks outside and takes the decision. If the pilot flying would be the captain, he has to scan the instruments and just to scan the outside. The instruments, outside, inside, outside. In that moment, one short look takes a lot of time, to be fair. So different concept.
Nice. I agree. That's a great idea. Also, maybe guys, you didn't notice he just removed his hands around like minimums. When you hear, then you take off your hands from the yoke, and then once airplane landed itself, auto land, autopilot disconnected. But this autopilot disconnected automatically, or captain did it?
In our company, it's the procedure that the captain disconnects after touchdown. Otherwise, I think after 8 seconds or something, it's going to disconnect at some point. Because we didn't have it's not a centerline tracking.
Exactly. You don't have rollout, but in 777 we have rollout. So even if you land in 777, it keeps the center line. It's not going to go left and right. But 777, unfortunately, once you land it, there is no rollout control. So you can veer left or right, and then you can end up, God forbid, at the end of like sideways. So that's why you need to take over the control as soon as airplane lands.
Exactly. And the captain did so, yeah.
Nice. That's good, man. It's really nice, great video, because it's not that common to see full auto lands and everything with 737. And
no,
it's
exactly.
very nice, educated video, man. I really like it. Okay,
Thanks.
Let's move on to the second one.
Approaching minimums. Minimums. One 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
All right. You can think, why did we take this video? First of all, I love Porto. And the second of all, this is a very unique approach. As you mentioned in your video, most of the time we have 3 degrees glide path. 3 degrees pretty much the standard one. And we mostly see steeper than 3 degrees because of if you have obstacle here or mountain or something, the approach is designed steeper to clear the obstacle. But it is very rare to see shallow angle less than 3 degrees, and it's only a few all around the world, and you have 2.7, which is great. So I would like to talk a little bit about it. And also from a pilot point, it is more difficult to land the airplane with this shallow angle because you get used to the view every day, because we as a pilot, you think that we use the instruments and everything, but the landing is pure manual maneuver. So basically you have scan flow, you need to fill the airplane, and then you need to maneuver based on this. But since you're all the time coming 3 degrees, 3 degrees, 3 degrees, you're so used to it, the approach and the view that you have, and the picture itself, 2.5, 2.7 is difficult. Likewise, if you go 3.5, 3.6, it's also difficult. So, and you did a good landing. What is the secret, and how did you prepare for yourself? What do you brief, or do you even brief special brief?
Yeah. So, I mean, what we do as pilots generally, you do the same, I guess, in every company. So, before you start your descent, you prepare the approach, and usually before you even start the day, you will have a look at the approach and you have an understanding what's going to happen. You don't need any special training for a 2.7 degree approach, obviously, because the aircraft in the systems were perfectly aligned with the approach type. So the aircraft would show a normal picture. You just follow the flight directors, let's say, and it's going to get you there on a 2.7 degree angle. What's different now is, as we're not so steep as we usually are, as you said, the view is different, but also the power setting is different. So I'm flying manually now, and now the noise of the aircraft is going to be different. The pitch might be slightly different, just because now I have to follow a shallow approach. So we need more power, the nose is slightly more up maybe, and that's a bit weird. So I think in this video you can see it was a nice landing, but it was a slight float, let's say, just because I flare like I usually kind of do. But then if you flare with a shallow angle, you might just flare too much and just keep floating. So I think the secret there is to realize this before you fly the approach, so that you remind yourself, okay, don't pull so much, because otherwise you're just going to keep floating forever.
You're right. And also, if you notice that normally you have to pass threshold at 50 feet in 3 degrees, but your 50 cadence, like 50, 40, started counting down about the threshold. Because why? You have a shallow angle, so you don't pass glide like above threshold at 50 feet. That's also interesting. And you said a good point, this noise. So this is a very common technique that each Boeing pilot uses because of thrust setting that you have each time. If you heavy, if you steep, your speed is changing based on your weight or the angle that you have. Therefore, you need to adjust speed with the throttle, and one setting that you will set actually will create a different noise. And then
you're used to it, yeah.
Exactly. Once you fly more and more and more and more, you gain some kind of experience about it. You literally listen the airplane, and then the noise that you will have, oh, that's good. Sometimes I make a little adjustment. I don't even look at the speed because I know the speed will go there eventually.
Yes, you hear
the noise first.
Exactly. That's how you do it. I think that's how you do it. Yeah.
That's amazing, man. That's really great.
And I think generally, let's talk about the quick secret of flying. I've done so many assessments already in my life where you had to do lots of manual flying, of course. And I've talked to other candidates, other pilots and whatnot. And the thing is, most people, like a lot of pilots, let's say, they really focus on numbers. So obviously there's pitch and power tables, pitch and power settings. And of course, if you say, I said so and so much, let's say 55% and 1 with a 2.5 degree pitch gives you a certain figure. And you can study these figures by heart. And, in a certain moment, you're doing an approach and an assessment, and you look at the numbers, you look at the engines, and you look outside, and the engines, the speed, that's not really good. What you rather should be as a good pilot, really, you know the stuff generally, but more you focus on the aircraft. You feel how the aircraft behaves. You feel how much thrust it needs. You look outside to see the picture. Where's the pitch now? Does it make sense? The aircraft will fly. If you're a good pilot, you will feel how to do it. Of course, you have to check what you're doing, but you're much quicker, and it's much easier, more intuitive to fly an aircraft just by how it feels.
Definitely. When I just started flying 737, I only had 200 hours. And when I was flying with the captains, like instructors and everything, they were saying that you need to feel the airplane on your with your bump. And
Yeah,
then when
exactly.
the airplane is sinking or you're, high, you're low, you need that some thrust or just, because people are so fixated with the numbers. And if you do the every time same thing, it's not gonna work. For instance,
Exactly.
sometimes you are sinking to the ground 50, 40, 30. People are thinking that you need to reduce the thrust, but this is your enemy. You need to add thrust to smooth your landing, because if you know the physics, when you add the thrust, airplane will try to pitch up and arrest the rate of descent, so you will have the controllability again. So you shouldn't memorize the stuff while doing landings, because each landing is different. You have wind,
Absolutely.
you have different types of approaches and different types of environments. This is all different, and airplanes are also different. All the time, some certain percent of M1 is not giving the same output.
And if you fly the 700, 800, max 900
Exactly.
ER, whatever, you have to forget about the numbers and just fly.
Exactly. And also, if you are empty or versus if you are full is totally different. And don't forget, airplanes are really, really harder to land when they're empty. This is the one thing, because airplanes
Yeah.
are designed to be full, because they are designed to make money, and that's why every characteristic that airplane has is changing daily basis. So there is no perfection on that. That's why 737 is really, really difficult airplane to land. And that's why, by the way, I have another thing. For these videos, you share this and you share bother and good. First question, don't you ever have bad landings? And second of all, don't how you are dealing with this. Social media is a good if you want to learn something, but there are very, poisonous people out there, like hate. They like to write hate sentences, like they want to insult, or they think that without flying, or they're doing their master of everything, they can comment on anything with zero knowledge. How you are dealing with this shit? First, don't you have any bad landing? The second part is this. How do you answer
So
those?
first on the bad landings, obviously I have bad landings. I think that's normal, and not every landing is a butter landing. I think the whole butter sentence that started off when I started TikTok, it just became a thing. So now it's my catchphrase, let's say. So even all the videos that I post, not all of them are butter landings, but it's just, I think, my running gag. And I think, it's CEO of butter landings. So what I call myself now, not because my landings are perfect, but I think it has become a catchphrase. But yeah, I have bad days. To be fair, I don't have horrible landings. I think, every pilot has a certain level of skill. From my experience, I think I'm good. I'm very confident in what I do. I'm very confident in my job. I feel very professional about it. And I don't think I have to hide my landings generally. So if you fly with me tomorrow, I think you'd be like, oh yeah, that's decent enough. Chances with me having a real rough landing, it's quite low, I think. Really rarely happens that it's bad. But even if it happens and you have a hard landing, guys, that's normal. It happens. As long as it's safe, that's all we care about. So a butter is it's not the goal. Being safe on the ground, that's the goal. How do I
Yeah.
deal with negativity though? Also a thing, I would say I'm a very confident person, not only online but also privately. I feel like a confident person. And I think that's what you really need. Social media, as you say, can be very positive. I'm trying to share positive messages. I'm trying to give young kids or young adults the idea of being a positive person is good, and that should be rewarded, and that's the way to go. Of course, you will always have different people who are poisonous online. I have to say it's more the adults than the kids who are poisonous on the social media.
Definitely, I agree.
Yeah. And then again, it's more pilots than normal people who complain
That
about
was
it.
my third question. Don't
We're
you ever
getting there.
get, oh, this is wrong, you are doing wrong, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that?
I think if you're a professional pilot, then first of all, you question yourself before you question others. Again, the video doesn't reflect the whole landing. You don't feel the aircraft, you don't see the wind, you don't experience everything. So I don't judge other pilots. When I see they do a hard landing, whatever, I don't know what the reason was. There might be a reason, So I wouldn't do this. But then again, on social media, there's pilots, even from my company or from other companies, are like, oh, that's such a joke. Why would you call it butter landing? I've had people to reach out to me from my company like, are you serious? How do you call yourself like butter landings and whatever? I'm like, this is just a joke. If you cannot take the joke, it's not really my problem. I'm not trying to share that I'm the best pilot in the world, not at all. I'm trying to share the real view. On my Instagram, for example, I share my ups, I share my downs, I share interesting stuff, and it's not all glamorous. Like we speak in this stream, not everything is perfect, not everything is gold, and definitely not my landings are not all gold.
Yeah. But are we gonna see bad landings as well? Or are you promising us that one day you will land and whatever it is, you will publish it?
I've
Or
posted
are you trying to, when you have a bad landing, okay, I can skip this part. Next, let's focus on the next
No,
landing.
I have to say, I post. I mean, because I don't record that many videos. So whenever I fly, I record one, or once in a while, and I post that. I don't have these kind of bad landings. I also don't have a video of a go around because I have not had to fly a go around so far. I had one go around, but years ago, before I started even recording, so that doesn't really count. I've had one video on my TikTok and Instagram a while ago. It's an old crappy video, one of my first videos, where I had the sun visor up on the side, and it's a harder landing, and you see poof, it moves twice because it's such a hard landing. Let's say it's like shaking, but I don't honestly have any video where you would see or feel it's a bad landing. I really don't.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, hard landing definition we are talking about is different than the legal definition of hard landing, because in the airplane, if you really make, like, aviation term wise speaking, hard landing, you should literally hit the ground really hard. But the landings that you get most of the time, like, they're firm landings, they're not hard landings.
And they're
When you
good.
feel it, it doesn't mean that it's a hard landing. This is totally two different things. You should differentiate the difference in between. But sometimes I feel it, and it can happen to anyone. As a passenger, I feel it, and I'm traveling with my friends, and I feel like we are sinking in 737. I was like, I'm doing this, guys, be ready. And then we are like, woof. And they're like, how do you feel it? When I'm a pilot, I'm flying this airplane, I can see the airplane can sink. But no judgment, because we were there already. We were like trying to learn and everything. And time to time, everything is different. For instance, for me, if the weather is calm, everything is smooth and perfect, I was like, shit, this is not going to be a great landing.
Interesting.
But when you are challenging crosswind and everything, you're fighting, then you come like this, and then you just touch very smooth. It is always like this on my landings.
It is the hard conditions usually are the ones with better landings, where you just focus.
Definitely.
But one interesting point to add, my most recent video, the one in Corfu in Greece, with the glide slope warning. So I've had a lot of pilots, real pilots, commenting bullshit on my video because they were like complaining about it. Because in the video I'm saying it's a short runway. So the runway in Corfu is 2,300 meters. As a Boeing pilot, a 737 pilot, we know the 737 can easily handle 2,300 meters. But what do we consider? So now in this video, you can see we're trying to touch the aircraft down early, even before the 1,000 foot mark, or the captain's bars, let's say, just because we know the runway still is relatively short, not crazy short, but relatively short. We were full, it is warm. We wanted to touch down the aircraft as soon as possible and start decelerating the aircraft. So now you leave room for error. I'm trying to aim for an early touchdown. If I, for whatever reason, float now, I pull too hard, I float, and now I lose distance and touchdown later, maybe even far later, I'm still safe before we have to go do a go-around. So that's basically professional being a professional pilot. You give yourself a safety margin. Yes, 2,300 meters is a long way to go, and it already includes a bit of a margin, but there's nothing wrong with giving you an extra margin as long as it's correct and safe. Because why risk approaching normally, but then you float and then you have to do go-around anyways because you messed up just slightly and there's no more room for error. So
I agree, but the one common mistake people are making, like pilots, in your case, your videos, they're confusing with the academic terms and real life. And when you talk about the hard landing, no one can know if they're not pilot what is hard landing definition.
That's true.
All they feel it, oh, this was hard, so this is hard landing. No, it's not hard. When you write short runway, it is not definition by, like, airline world definition short runway, but you are trying to show them this is normally you have 3,000 meter long runways most of the time.
Yeah.
But you have 2,300, which means that this is shorter than normal. You're trying to give a message, but most of the people are thinking in the way that, oh, you are wrong. This is not short runway. Still, you have 2,300 meters. Man, we are not talking about the pilot world. And if you continue, I'm in social media as well. You are an expert on that. If you give people too much details about the aviation terms, they will be lost. We need to gather them attention, and then we need to, explain it. So people are always confusing these two terms. What is aviation definition wise? What is spoken language? So these
Exactly.
things are different. So I
Very good
totally
example.
understand you. That was
Yeah.
my question, because it's really, really hard to keep yourself mentally positive all the time. I had a recent example, and one guy who is a hiring manager in European Airlines, by, of course, anonymous, he is not mentioning which airline he is working for. He started texting on my YouTube videos, like below the comments, you are lying, you didn't leave, blah blah, you are fired, then you didn't start working for United, you didn't get green card, you don't know. He even checked the statistics, how many Turks get a green card this year, calculated the probability. You are lying to public. It was like, man,
What the
what are you
hell?
thinking? What kind
What
of
the hell?
mindset you have? And people are like, literally are texting behind my videos that I'm fired from Emirates, that I resign, and but still they're writing I'm fired. I was
But
like, people
you
cannot
have to
be
just
that dumb. But they have such a high self-confidence. They're like, they don't care. They lie, they shoot their messages, and they don't care. It's like, I wouldn't take
I
my
will never understand such people, to be honest. I just
exactly.
can't. I cannot.
Why would I take my precious time to send a
No.
negative comment to someone? Why would I do this?
But see,
I
the
don't
good
know.
thing is, if you have a good community at some point, the community also backs you up. So I have a fantastic community. There's some people watching here I've seen who I really know well for a long time now. And if you find yourself this community, when you establish yourself, with your videos are fantastic, and there will be I'm sure next year we're going to talk about 20, 30, 40,000 on your YouTube, because the content is good and people will see that it's good. And at some point, the good, positive people will be way in the majority compared to the negative stuff. I get thousands of comments every day. I don't read them, obviously, because there's so many, but the only ones I see are the positive ones, because those are the ones that are really pushed high up. The negative ones, they just die. Nobody's going to pay attention to that at some point.
Exactly, man. That's great. If you're ready, we can continue with the next video.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. So it's gonna come now, hopefully.
Oh, no worries, no worries. There we go.
$500.
Flight slow.
Disregard.
Flight slow. Flight slow.
$100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Nice. Why did I take this video? First of all, Nice is one of the most challenging airports in Europe, because you are just you shouldn't fly over there are high hills on the both sides. And
there's rich people around who want to be not distracted.
Exactly, and you shouldn't piss them off. And plus, you have prescribed tracks there you need to follow, and it's like a visual maneuver, and it's easy to go to land side, and then most probably it's gonna be a drama. And also, what I liked in this video, you like really nice descriptive things, like it's serving Monaco, and it's like what I liked in your videos. You give technical details, but you also give the little details about the field that you're flying into. That makes it perfect. It's like, I will start my question: how you are planning your videos, because you have very limited time, 30 seconds, 20 seconds, not like you have 15 minutes to talk about everything. How do you choose? Do you study the airfield, or how do you decide which one you're going to put in, and then how you are going to write your text?
So usually, I mean, the approaches, as we saw the other videos before, I mean, they're all having a similar kind of pattern, right? It's always the same approach, but then again, every approach, as we already mentioned, is different. So there will be special moments. So for example, now Porto has a 2.7-degree slope. Nice, you have this visual turn, is different, and the airport itself is a special airport. So whatever I post, I think every single approach has something special. So I usually just start editing the video with the base, the general callouts to get the technical stuff out of the way. Because I also have to always think about the fact every video is going to reach mostly new people. It's not always going to be my own followers. It's going to be new people watching this video. So I will always put the GPWS explanation in there. I will always put on the callout explanations there because people who are new will need to understand. The side facts I usually just choose. I will have a look. For example, in Nice, I had a look privately, just Googled. So, okay, what's interesting about Nice Airport? Which detail do I like, which is like worth mentioning? And I just put it in. And I think like this, you keep the attention, because again, it's a 30-second video, but to keep the people's attention is quite difficult. So I think whatever you do, whatever content you post, you need to keep the people going and, interested, invested into the video.
Nice. And I would like to talk a little bit about technical details. In this video, you got glide slope, but apparently, as far as I understand, you're making IN approach there.
Exactly.
So therefore, you get the GPWS, which is perfectly fine. But some people who think that they're smart enough, they can come, oh, you're going below, you got this GPWS. So what would you like to talk about the guys that they don't have the knowledge about this kind of approaches?
So, of course, the glide slope is a thing based for the ILS, for the instrument landing system, which is the most common approach type that we fly as pilots every single day. When you fly an EON approach, there you use a glide path. So you don't have a slope anymore, you have a path. And the path is always different, and it's going to be based on temperature, on the environmental conditions of the airfield. It's very different to an ILS where the environmental conditions don't really matter. It will always be the same slope. What people don't understand is that the aircraft wants you to be safe. So the aircraft always checks, okay, based on the data I have on board, this type of approach, usually we have a 3-degree glide slope and you're above or below that slope, because now on this day, we didn't fly an ILS, we were flying the EON approach. It will, we have a different pressure altitude at that point maybe. And that's the reason why you get the warning. As a pilot, however, you need to be aware that this warning can occur so you don't get startled. Obviously, when you fly and you hear glide slope, you're like, oh, what's happening? So you should always brief it before. The captain and I, we did that. We knew, okay, we're going to be disregarding it. That's why she just said disregard. I confirmed disregard because we both verified the information. We both know it's not critical. And she then cancels the warning. So I'm not going to be distracted anymore.
Yeah, and EN approaches are approaches, just correct me if I'm wrong, basically there are two types of approaches, one precision and one non-precision approaches. Precision approach is the one that provides you vertical guidance while you're making your approach. Non-precision approaches are there only to support you laterally, so there is no vertical guidance. So airplane calculates a vertical navigation path for you, but you don't get any vertical signal or something to correct your path so you follow. So ILS, instrument landing system, sends you vertical signal and lateral signal so that you can align yourself with the runway. But non-precision approaches, they just there to follow lateral path, and vertical path should be done by computer or yourself with the basic modes. But IN approaches, on the other hand, will you fly non-precision approaches like precision approaches, right?
Exactly.
You just again press arm the approaches, and you do exactly the same thing what you are doing in ILS, and then you shoot the non-precision approach.
Exactly. That's how it works. I mean, as you said, the only thing with the EON really is fantastic for airfields that don't have an ILS installed, because now you have a programmed and you have a calculated perfect glide path, and you arm the approach. It's going to give you the final approach course, the FAC. It's going to be armed, and then you fly that line like a localizer, which is perfect. And then you have the programmed and calculated path, which keeps you perfectly safe. It's just a different profile than the ILS, but it's
once you arm it, once they're engaged, you have final approach course, glide path, right?
Correct. Correct.
Okay, perfect. All right. I think this is that was the third video, right? Now we're gonna move to fourth one. I think so, yeah. Let's see.
Yeah.
How Airbus pilots around the world secretly feel when they see my landings.
50, 40, 30,
20. Yeah, I couldn't finish this video without talking about Airbus versus Boeing, man.
I'm happy to do so. Shoot.
I like this video because your airplane is not calling you retard when you're trying to land. at least, you
Yeah.
control, and it doesn't tell you retard.
I have to say, we spoke about this earlier. Flying an Airbus is a very different thing than flying a Boeing. As a pilot, I do appreciate Boeings very much for the fact that you are fully in control. You'll learn to fly the aircraft. But I have to say, I will look forward to a future in an Airbus myself at some point, just for the health reasons, for comfort reasons. Airbus is very modern. It's a modern machine, and it takes away a lot of work. And I think at some point as a pilot, you're done with working hard. I think you want to enjoy a little bit. At some point, you'd like to have a table where you can have your food on, and the aircraft does a lot for you. So right now, love the Boeing, but I think the longer I stay in the industry, the more I would like to fly Airbus.
I totally agree. I chose 737 here because it offers the best life as seniority-wise, destination-wise. But in the future, definitely I would love to fly either 321 XLR or Neo or 350. Definitely I would like to try state-of-art, brand new an Airbus. And this is the thing. And we are not fighting here, Boeing, Airbus. Airplane is airplane. I mean, this is our job. Tomorrow I can fly another Airbus. I don't mind. But for me, I was lazy because I was switching to another country, and I didn't want to learn new airplane because I'm learning new country, new company, new procedures, and plus new airplane. I felt like it's too much for me, but that's why, I chose Boeing. But now in the future, maybe I might think of getting Airbus as well. So that was nice. The last few, I believe,
let's do the last. I think, we're done 5.
Yes, the last video.
500.
There is the hotel on the mountain right side.
Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow.
$50, $40, $30, $20, $10.
Okay, did he really tell your name, or did you use F words there?
No. He actually did that. Yeah. Oh, it's nice. He's a fantastic captain. He's a German guy as well, so I like to fly with him. He's, I think, almost 25, 30 years experience now. 30 years, I think, is a really good guy. And this is a great example of having a hard landing. I think this is as hard as it gets for my landings, to be fair. Simply because here the goal is really not to have a smooth landing. Guys, at this point we were saying we want to touch down, so short runway, just get the aircraft safely on the ground, and then there's no point. If you're really good, you can butter in that moment. It wasn't my target. We just wanted to get the aircraft on the ground, start decelerating as soon as possible. So yeah, that was a nice approach, but I was happy. He was happy with it, so I was happy with it.
Yeah, you have a nice comment, man.
Yeah, the spark in his eyes every time we went through the video.
That's also why I chose this video. While I'm watching your landing, of course, I could feel it's firmer than the previous ones, and I on purpose to put this to show the people pilots are sometimes on purposely landing like this. It's not because they couldn't make it. It all depends the factors. If you have a shorter runway, if you have a tailwind, if it is wet, you don't want to make a butter landing if it is wet and standing water on the runway. You need to stop, and brakeness effectiveness depends how you land, and your speed brakes are went up. Sometimes you even feels. I had some landings in 777. I didn't feel like we land. I see the speed brakes move up, then you feel it. Definitely, this kind of landings you shouldn't make, especially if it is wet and challenging environment. As you mentioned, that's the main motivation behind of why did I choose this video, because pilots sometimes does this landing on purpose. That's the point.
Great example.
Man, that's really nice. Initially we planned to make a video around an hour, but it's almost 2 hours. So I think definitely we need to make it again. What do you think?
I think exactly the same. First of all, thank you so much for hosting. I think you've done a phenomenal job. Also to your editor, I think it's an amazing setup that you've done here. A fantastic format as well. So I felt very comfortable here. So I definitely would like to do it again. I think we've had plenty of comments still left. So if you're up for it, we should do it again.
Definitely, I'm up for that. So we can, as I told you, maybe we can invite my other friend as well. I can introduce him to you. So maybe I am a Turkish guy versus two German guy, so or German speaking guys. Then we will see what's gonna happen. Yeah, it's gonna be nice,
But
man. It's honor for me to host you here. In each video, I'm trying to make it live to make people aware of aviation world. Not only talk like fancy stuff, but we would like to teach people how is aviation, not flying the airplane, but the process. What do you think about it? And then we can make this aviation world better. We can use the social media in a better way so people can get maximum benefit out of it. We can remove the hate language. We can remove the shitty comments that we are getting. So we can try to maximize for those who would like to get help or are seeking for help as well. So that's my main motivation in aviation when I'm creating all these YouTubes on Instagram and everything. That's why I'm spending lots of times on that. And definitely you're doing this and you have a great videos. There's a great opportunity for everyone to have you on social media, man. And you keep doing what you're doing. You're absolutely fantastic and really great professional. I really like today. And you guys, you heard, I got his promise. Definitely he will be joining again.
We will.
Yes, we will make another video together live, and it's going to be awesome. Maybe we can think of the format, and we are open for feedbacks as well. So please feel free to send your feedbacks. How did you find it? What can we do better? If you have any addition to the specific, oh, you better do this or do that, we can apply to in the next videos to these kind of things as well. So I'm super happy. We are flexible with that. I hope you liked it. But before, as usual, before we go, please subscribe my channel and subscribe his channel and follow him on TikTok. Let's make him in 1 million followers on TikTok. And he's a great guy. So that's it, man. I really appreciate that I hosted you.
Thank you so much, guys. The people who are here from the TCP crew, please give Chanair some love. Go and subscribe on the YouTube. That's the minimum we can do, and also support the Instagram. And I'm sure we'll see each other there in the next stream, hopefully quite soon. Then
exactly. That's okay then. If you don't have anything to add, that's it for today.
Nope. We're gonna talk backstage, and then yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. See you guys.